what I really like about watch collecting, and I don't class myself as a watch collector. I have bought, went through a stage, I don't know, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, where I bought a few Panerays. I also have a few vintage Omegas. And I have to admit, I'm starting to get back into it. I'm starting to bring back my interest in watches. And that interest, I guess, never went away. The interest was always there. But I think, like all of us, it comes down to the funds that you have and the funds you have available to buy these watches. Luckily enough, in the past 6 months, I bought, well, actually in the last year, I bought, 3 watches. 3 watches, which is pretty amazing considering I haven't bought a watch since 2005 was the last time I bought a watch. So it's a long time. It's a long time. I'm not saying that I buy them all the time, but I have got the bug again, and I'm getting the bug for a lot of different reasons. And I really enjoy the, I guess it's the watch community that I'm discovering and people that I'm discovering in the process. I mean, watch collecting really, it's a lot like Porsche. I find it very similar to Porsche. I mean, a fine watch, a really good watch, a mechanical watch, a well-built automatic watch, a Rolex, a Patek, an AP, to name a few. Panerai, I still think Panerai is up there. Panerai's just been a little bit misunderstood, and they really did flood the market in the late 2000s. But I think Panerai will come back. But I like looking at watches. It's like when I see a really nice 911, an old 911, or even a Ferrari or something like that. I just like to look at the design. I think it's if you have a love for cars, if you have a love of Porsche, or you have a love of Ferrari, or you have a love of Aston Martin, you have to have a love of watches. It kind of goes hand in hand. And I guess that's why I want to share watch videos on this channel, as well as my Porsche videos, which I know are not as often now, but I'm still going to do them. And I just like to share the watch story as well, because I think it's so related. And it's obviously a lot of you guys out there have said to me, hey, I've got a 911, I've got a 997, I've got the Tudor like you, I've got a Rolex. I don't have a Rolex, I have, just a cheap watch, but it's a military watch, and it's on a really cool NATO strap, and I also own a 997, a Porsche 997. So we all have this common interest, and I think that's the beauty of YouTube. Obviously, we're not in full lockdown here in Bahrain. Things are closed, but spending a lot more time at home, not going to the office, trying to keep away and keep a distance from people, even though the cases aren't so bad here. I hope all you guys I just want to say this very quickly, but I hope everyone around the world, UK, London, Australia, I hope everyone, and in Europe as well, I hope you guys are all taking care and listening to your government's advice. I have to say, I did see something on the news this morning in Australia where people don't seem to be taking the country's advice. So only time will tell what the repercussions of that will be. Back to watches. Okay, so the watch you're seeing now is my, as you know, I bought the Sea Dweller. I bought the Sea Dweller last September. That was my first Rolex. And it wasn't my first choice. My first choice was a Submariner. And I know that might sound cliche, but I wanted the Submariner. And I actually didn't want the Submariner without the date. I wanted the Submariner with the date. And this is going back this is only going back, let's just say 12 months. Just before I bought my Tudor Black Bay Bronze, which was April last year, I actually wanted to get a Rolex. I had to get my Panerai 44mm serviced in London. I took it to a watch store in London. I'm not going to name the store because I don't like them very much, so I'm not going to name them. And inquired about getting a Rolex. Basically point blank, no way. Unless you spend a lot of money on our jewelry, and then we might put you on a list. So that was crazy. So I got my Panerai serviced. I went to a few other dealers. I emailed dealers. I couldn't get on any list to buy any watch. And what I really wanted was just a classic Submariner. I just wanted one Rolex, and that was the one I chose. I wasn't looking at vintage. I wanted a new Rolex watch. And I guess when it comes to the Red Sea Dweller, which is the one I'm actually wearing today, the Red Sea Dweller, I didn't look at it because I thought it was going to be too hard to find. I thought it was going to be one of those watches which is going to be like, impossible to find. And it seems like in some places in the world, and this is what I'm learning with the watch market, depending on the market, it's like any product. Some products are, yeah, I was just talking about the Rolex market, and it's interesting actually, because like I said, I had no luck in London. I also tried in Australia to get a watch from Australian market. I couldn't get it. Then we relocated here to Bahrain, and in Bahrain there's a couple of Rolex AD dealers. There's 2 dealers to my knowledge. I don't think there's 3, there's 2. There's also people in Dubai as well. I'm not sure if they ship to Bahrain, but there are watch dealers. But I wanted to buy my Rolex from an official dealer. That was very important to me. I'm even willing to pay a little bit more than the price because I wanted an official Rolex watch. The first day we looked in one of the dealers' windows here in Bahrain. They had a Red Sea Dweller in the window. The watch that I thought was impossible to get, you know, this watch, which I thought was impossible to get, was available. And the prices in Bahrain are not the same as UK or US, and I've mentioned this before. They're slightly higher. They're not as high as grey market, but they do actually mark the watches up, and they mark the watches up to a higher price. I don't know whether this is allowed or not, but this is what they do, and anyone that comes from this region will know this. And I think it's the same in Dubai and UAE as well. They mark the watches up, and they're slightly more expensive. They're not like a grey seller price. They're close. They're not that close, but they're close. But you get it from an AD. And I know a lot of people are going to be screaming in the comments about this, and I saw a post on Rolex Forum on Facebook with the same scenario, that someone from the US came here, went to one of the dealers and saw the price and thought, hey, how can it be $2,500 US more than the retail price? How can these dealers do that? I don't know how they do it. They do it. The bottom line is, you want the watch, you don't want the watch. I wanted the watch, I paid the money. I couldn't get it anywhere else in the world at the moment, so I was happy to put the money down. I may reconsider that in future purchases. I might wait. I might try to get a relationship in the UK somehow, or just keep contacting people endlessly, which I think I have to do, or in Australia, and get a watch that is closer to recommended retail price. Anyway, so back to my story. The Submariner. I always wanted the Submariner. Submariner is a classic Rolex watch. Most of you know what the Submariner looks like. I'll put the picture on the Rolex page if you don't know it, but most of you know it. That's the classic Submariner. It is available in green at the moment. I wouldn't mind the green one. My mind, I don't know, I don't understand myself at the moment because I really hated the green. I hated the Hulk. And I just thought it was too green, but I've seen other images of it, and when the dial sometimes looks black, sometimes it looks green. It's a really special watch. And based on the AKA Kermit from 2004, I actually knew a guy who bought one new. And my friend's sister also bought one when they went to Hong Kong once. That watch has gone crazy. That is also on my list of a possible Submariner to get, but that's a vintage piece and that's a very expensive purchase. I think they're selling for around, is it £10,000? More? I don't know. I think they're quite high. I haven't checked it recently, but I think they're quite high. But the thing is, what I really want at the moment, and I have to say, I came across, and I'm going to check my phone because I forgot what his name is, Barkandjack from the UK, and I came across it on Instagram first, and my battery's going to run out. Let me just change. Yeah, so I came across Barkandjack, and I first came across it on Instagram actually, and then YouTube did its usual and gave me a recommendation to watch a video on his channel. I didn't even know he had a YouTube channel. And he's based in the UK, and I've been watching his videos, and I've also been watching Roman Schaaf, which I think that's how you pronounce it, sorry, Roman Schaaf, Luxury Bazaar. His videos are really good, and also London Watch Collector. But Barkandjack actually hit me because one of the videos that came up was about the Rolex, and I'm trying to find the number here because I always forget the numbers. It was a Rolex Submariner, no date, and I think it's from 2004. And the reference number was, and I'm going to show a picture of it now, from someone. Actually, I'll show his video up in the corner so you can see his video, and he'll be showing the watch. Sorry, I forget his first name. It's 14060M. Now, that's the Rolex Submariner, no date. Barkandjack bought one. It has 2 lines. M stands for the updated movement. I think it's around 2004 watch. I found a really good one on Chrono 24. And it's $18,200, actually that's Australian dollars, about $7,700 US. And there's one for sale, new old stock, complete set. I'm really tempted with this watch. I'm really tempted. If not this one, another one, because I really want the no date. In fact, I should check with my friend, and I know he sometimes watches these videos, but he never says anything in the comments, but I know my friend bought one of these way back in about 2003, 2004, so I think he might actually have this watch. It's gone up a lot in price. I think it was around 4,000 Aussie all those years ago, 4,500 Aussie, which is not very much. Like I said, this one in Australian dollars is 18,000, but it's about 7,007 US. It's from a US dealer. So now I've got the situation where this fun situation where I'd like to get the Submariner. I bought the Sea Dweller and I thought I don't want to have a Submariner as well as a Sea Dweller because they're very similar, except the Sea Dweller is 43 and it's got the red writing, but they're similar. So I don't want to get the Submariner with a date, but I would like to get the Submariner no date. If I could get the no date, if I can't buy one vintage, the 2004, which I'm more leaning towards getting one of those, I will try to get a new one. Unfortunately, one of the Rolex dealers in Bahrain here had one. One came in. They didn't call me when the new stock arrived, so I didn't know, and apparently it's sold. They had the Rolex sub with the date, but they didn't have the no date. I don't want the date because, like I said, it's similar to this. I like the cleanness of that vintage style with the no date. So, dilemma is, do I get the new one? Which I'm not sure even how much it is, and if I can get one in London or US, or London or Australia, which is cheaper, would probably be better. Or do I spend the money, which is around 18,000 Australian dollars, 77 US, then I'm going to pay shipping, I think is about 200 US from this dealer, or 200 Aussie maybe, so say 100 US, and then I'm going to get hit duty when it comes into Bahrain. I'm tempted. This one is new old stock. I'll put it up on the screen now, this listing, but it's new old stock. It's really, really special. And I guess this has all been spurred on by watching Barkandjack. It's been spurred on by watching other people and talking to other watch collectors and watch fans on Instagram. And I love it. I love it. It's like talking about Porsche. It's a common bond. It's something that, you know, it's something you can talk for hours about. And at this time when we're all sort of quarantined and stuck in our house in self-isolation, why not talk about it, and why not share our love of cars and watches and all those sort of things, the mechanical things, the interesting things, the things that have been designed to the minute detail, which are really, really special. And that's what I love about watch collecting. Like I said, my collection is not huge. I have vintage Omegas. I have a couple of vintage Omegas. I have 3 Panerai. I have 3 Panerai, and now I have 2 Rolex. I have my father's old watch, which is an old Waltham watch, which is not worth anything, but it's very sentimental, and it's a Waltham old military style watch, which I'm going to put on a nice NATO strap, but that's back in Australia. And that's it. That's all I have. I don't really have a huge collection, but I would like to get the Submariner. There's a few Rolexes that I'm looking at. The other one is the Explorer from 2004 with the red hand. I was looking at the modern one. Now I'm going back and forwards between modern and vintage. And the other one I really like is the GMT Master, what they call aka Coke, red and black bezel, aluminium bezel. A great one came up in Australia. I missed it because I wasn't willing to spend the 22,000 Australian dollars. I don't know what the conversion is at the moment in US. Probably it's about half in pounds, so 11,000 pounds. But there's a lot out there, and it's exciting. Anyway, I just wanted to share that with you today. So the reason why, so what I was going to say is the reason why I was always hesitant to get the Submariner is because I don't want it to be the same as the Sea Dweller. But if I get the no date, if I get the vintage one, it is different. And it's those little minute details, you know. That's what Barkandjack was saying, you know, he's got a few Submariners. And it's those little details that you pick up. It's like the little nuances between the 911, the little style, the differences in the 993 to the 994 or whatever. You know, there's differences. Yeah, it's the same thing. It's a Rolex Submariner, it's a Porsche 911. But it's a little bit different. And that's what makes it so special and so interesting to get into. And I don't know, you get that collector bug, and I wish I had endless supply of money, but I don't, so I have to be careful. But the next one on my list, I think, has to be the no date sub. I'm tempted with this, with the 120, what is it again? 120, I got to remember these numbers. 14060M Rolex Submariner date. That's actually from 2002. I really don't know what's happening today. I keep having battery issues, but that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. Thumbs up always helps on YouTube. It gets people to my channel. And if you haven't subscribed already, my name is Michael Barth. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.